You ready? All right. Good morning. Hello and welcome. I'm Pasco County Administrator Dan Biles, and I started Pasco County here on the 1st of May and just want to take this opportunity to get to know you, the reporters who cover Pasco County, and at the same time speak directly to our neighbors here in Pasco County. Additionally, since tomorrow is the start of hurricane season, we thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about preparing for those emergencies as they may come up. Now, my wife and I are excited to be a part of this community and to meet our new neighbors. You know, as we all know, Pasco County is booming, and we recently exceeded 500,000 people in the county, and by 2040, we expect to have close to 1 million people living in Pasco County. That's a tremendous growth, and in fact, Pasco County is one of the fastest growing counties in Florida. So I'm eager to work with our elected officials, our business leaders, our community leaders, and with you to talk about the plans for the future growth of Pasco County and also the challenges this growth brings to Pasco. In support of this, we want to know what our neighbors think about our county government so we can work to continue to improve those areas that need improving. Each year we put out our annual citizen survey to get up the pulse of our neighbors in Pasco County, and being open for a month, the survey is ending today, the 31st of May, and the answers you give will help guide the commission as they work through the budget priorities of their $1.3 billion budget over the next few months. So please, if you haven't completed it today, get out there today and finish that survey. Now, this press conference is being held in the Emergency Operations Center media room. It's a vital way for Pasco County to communicate with the press and directly to our neighbors. Now, how can citizens stay informed about their county government and during emergencies as we start the hurricane season this year? Well, I encourage you to watch the local media reports and also to download the My Pasco App to stay informed during hurricanes and other emergencies. In addition, through the My Pasco App, you can learn more about some of the great things your county government is doing around Pasco County every day. You may have already noticed I like to have my own social media presence. If you go to the Pasco County main page, pascocountyfl.net, you'll see a box that says County Social Media, including a link to my own Twitter account. It's @Dan_Biles. I invite you to follow me in your favorite departments, whether it's parks, animal services, the library, the fire rescue. They're all there. The EOC is there as well. Whatever interests you may have, follow them. And altogether, you'll find that the county boasts more than 93,000 followers across all our social media platforms. Now, as the county administrator, one of my goals is that we will continue to improve how we listen to our citizens, our neighbors, and how we inform our neighbors throughout the county. And I look forward to working with our communications team and the media to get our message out. A couple of things that attracted me to the county and to this position were the vision and the mission the commission had put together throughout the years. And I plan on leading our team to even greater heights to achieve our vision for Pasco County, which is making Pasco Florida's premier county, while executing our mission, which is serving our community to create a better future. As county administrator of a team of more than 3,200 members, I am learning more every day about the things we do and how we help our neighbors and friends throughout the county. Every person that chooses to work for Pasco County is part of a wonderful, dedicated, hardworking team. And I'm excited to learn from their skills, abilities, and to lead them into the future. Now, before we move on to the next part of the briefing, I'd like to mention a few things about Mr. Kevin Guthrie, our Emergency Services Director. Now, you may not know this, so I'm announcing it now, and it will be on the agenda as it comes out later this week, but I'm submitting his name to the Board of County Commissioners next week for them to confirm my appointment of him as our new Public Safety Assistant County Administrator. Pasco Fire Chief Scott Casson has been doing this and covering that gap for the last few months and has been doing an outstanding job doing that. And he's ready and happy to be returning to being Pasco's fire chief, and we look forward to that. Mr. Guthrie served Pasco County as our Emergency Services Director. You all have seen him through the last year in various emergency events, from the straight line wind events we had last year and then just a few weeks ago to Tropical Storm Colin about a year ago today, through Hurricane Hermine, Hurricane Matthew. And since just the last few weeks since I took over as Pasco County Administrator, I've seen him 2 or 3 times out on various wildfires in Starkey Wilderness Park and in some other areas around the county. Kevin's also instrumental, along with the leadership of his Assistant Communications Director, Lieutenant Dan Olds, and his entire 911 communications team for making significant improvements to the 911 center to the benefit of all the citizens in Pasco County. Now, Lieutenant Olds works for the Pasco Sheriff's Office, and together, between the Sheriff's Office and the Board of Commissioners employees, we've worked to form a great partnership for the good of those that live, work, and play in Pasco County. And to just give you an idea of the improvement we made in that one area, over the last year, the teams improved their response times to new calls by almost 35%. Just a tremendous jump, an improvement that was accomplished not only by the team at 911, but also through the support of the Board of County Commissioners and others that helped recognize the need for additional staff in that group. So, as hurricane season gets underway, I assure you we are in good hands with our leadership and with our team and with you, staying vigilant and being prepared. And I will be available if you have any questions. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Emergency Services Director Kevin Guthrie to talk more about how the county plans to keep you safe and informed as we enter the hurricane season.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Administrator. First thing I want to talk about is we're kicking off today our campaign for Alert Pasco. So Alert Pasco is a mass notification tool that you can sign up for on the My Pasco app and also at PascoEmergencyManagement.com. What can you get from this particular tool? You can get emergency notifications, severe weather alerts. You can register a home phone, a cell phone. You can opt in for voiced or text coverage. You can put a business phone. You can put an email. You can register multiple addresses as family members in nursing homes, schools, and daycares. So even those folks that live outside of our particular county jurisdiction, if you have a loved one that lives in a home or a facility here, you can still sign up for Alert Pasco and get that notification so that you know what's going on with your particular loved one here in Pasco County. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys focus in on this, but this is the My Pasco app. And what we're doing with the My Pasco app, if you do this is on an Android platform, but you'll see that the third button down, both on the iPhone and on the on the Droid network, is that you can go to the third button, click on Alert Pasco, and then it will take you to the site where you can get started and sign up for that. So again, this is going to be a regional element that starts moving out through all the counties in the region. However, in Pasco County, what we will be doing is today is our kickoff day for signing up for the Alert Pasco app. Now, we've been testing it and utilizing it in, let's call it a beta format for the past couple of months, and we've had quite a huge success in notifying our internal departments and agencies of things that are going on. So we had that capability. Now we're ready to roll it out to that next level and include everyone in Pasco County. Again, go to the My Pasco app to register for that. Also on the My Pasco app, you also have the capability of signing or seeing the National Weather Service alerts, evacuation zones. That's one of the number one things that we get asked in emergency management is, what evacuation zone do I live in? You can drill down to that on the My Pasco app. You can find out exactly what evacuation zone you live in. We will have hurricane tracking when we have a tropical storm. We will be tracking those hurricanes on the My Pasco app. You can get your disaster planning guide on the My Pasco app, and then as well as any other announcements in emergency management, or as we'll call it, an enterprise-wide Board of County Commission needs to put out on that platform. We will put those things out. And this brings me to my last point, which is about hurricane season and preparedness. So disaster preparedness sales tax holiday is coming up June 2nd through the 4th. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's this weekend. So you will be able to get tax-free items on things that would be for your preparedness kit at home. Some things that you should consider. This is not a comprehensive list, but some of the things that you should consider are reusable ice packs, flashlights, lanterns, and candles, fuel containers, batteries, tarps, radios, portable generators, first aid kits. But if anybody needs to know where to go to, how do I form my kit? What are some other ideas? FEMA actually has a fantastic website at ready.gov that will actually walk people through answering questions and putting in information, and it will help spit out a report at the end that says, this is based on your household, you need 10 gallons of water, this amount of food, this amount of medications, and so on. So I highly encourage everyone to take advantage of a system that is already out there and very robust, and that is, again, ready.gov. With that concludes our preparedness actions. I will say, as we get ready to segue into questions, we have had 3 hurricane drills or exercises since February. So I want to assure the residents of Pasco County we're ready. We met most recently yesterday afternoon, again with Mr. Biles being here about 30 days now. We did go over his function in a disaster, as well as what we refer to as the executive policy group here in Pasco County. We had a drill yesterday for about an hour going through that. So we are prepared. We are ready for hurricane season. And with that, we will take your questions, whether they're for myself or for County Administrator Biles.
How do you think this app and the combination of the app and social media help you guys keep people informed of what's going on?
I'll say from an emergency management perspective, one of the things that we struggle with is getting information out in real time. So, the traditional news media, I have to call you guys together at a certain time to get certain information out. This allows us to put out information in real time. So it is a huge benefit so that we can notify our citizens exactly what's going on at the point in time that they need to be notified. So, for instance, evacuations. Evacuations is a critical situation, especially right now, not hurricane season, but wildfire season. If we have a wildfire encroaching on a particular piece of property, we can go into this system, the Alert Pasco system, as well as the My Pasco app, and geographically define an area and notify everybody within that area. So that's the benefit to it.
Given last year's hurricane season, do you think people are more prepared and taking it more seriously?
So I'll have to answer that question yes and no. I think overall in Pasco County, people are, and we see this from the hits on our websites and things of that nature, we believe that people are interested in being prepared. Now, we'll tell you, last year, hurricane season told us quite a bit about the regional behavioral analysis studies, the statewide behavioral analysis study. Last year, and my numbers may be slightly off here, but last year with Hurricane Matthew and Hermine combined, the state should have sheltered somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25,000 residents. We did not shelter anywhere close to that. Here in Pasco County, we should have sheltered about 2,000 residents. We only sheltered, I think our maximum number was 25. So what we're finding out, conversely, is people who evacuated, especially from the West Coast in Hurricane Matthew, the East Coast, they evacuated to the West Coast. They actually listened to us. Instead of evacuating hundreds and hundreds of miles, they evacuated 50 miles to the West Coast, and you cannot get a hotel room. So people have heard what we've been saying, which is a shelter is really last resort. Go to a hotel or get someplace that's about 50, 60 miles from your home and be in comfort, if you will. So the behavioral analysis has changed immensely. So again, the answer to that question is somewhat yes, somewhat no.
What would you say to them about being prepared and taking this seriously?
So I see Doug and Tamri reminding me to do this. So the question is, what would you say that people need to do to be more prepared? So again, what we would say at this point is get on the My Pasco app. That's the number one way to stay in touch with Pasco County. Number 2, go to the ready.gov website. We always say about be prepared. And it's not just for hurricane season. We're still strongly in the middle of wildfire season here in Pasco County. And in hurricane season, you get 48 hours notice, hey, this storm's coming, something might happen. But I will remind people that, as the county administrator mentioned, we've had 3 straight line wind and or tornado events in the last 12 months in Pasco County. We've had a flooding event. We have had, again, I believe this is a correct number, 15 significant wildfires in Pasco County where we have had to actually consider, do we need to evacuate people? Those type of incidents happen at a moment's notice, and you need to have your kit ready to go.
The Suncoast Parkway is an area that often floods, and it's also an evacuation route for a lot of people. What's being done about that?
So the Suncoast Parkway, the question was, what's being done about the Suncoast Parkway and that evacuation route? So to my knowledge and understanding, the Suncoast Parkway is not necessarily the problem. The bigger problem is State Road 54 as you get through the Trinity area. So again, what I want to remind everybody is the evacuation route. When we're evacuating people, it's before the rain falls. So the evacuation route is wide open. What is the problem is after the fact, when people return home, now a 6-lane highway comes down to basically 1 lane in each direction. So those are issues. What are we doing about that long term? It's a long-term strategic plan where we go out and we identify funding each and every year. We try to do legislative appropriation. We work with with FEMA to try to get some funding through the Flood Mitigation Assistance Grant, through the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. We've been identified as being eligible for about $1 million this year in relation to Hurricane Hermine. We may be eligible for some funding out of Hurricane Matthew. We will take those funds and start looking to see how we can comprehensively in the entire county address the flooding issues. Trinity's an area, Elfers, and as we talk about Trinity, more specifically the Elfers Parkway area, that's what causes that flood that comes up on 54 at Seven Springs and shuts that down. Same thing happens in neighborhoods. So we have to do some prioritizing about life safety versus scene preservation, if you will, and stabilization. So we're probably going to work on those homeowners first to keep them from flooding, and then we'll work on how we can do infrastructure and keep the roads open. So that, I hope that answers your question, but that's what we were working on. We're trying to identify every possible funding source that we can and go after that funding source.
And in the meantime, for some of those homeowners that, there were several neighborhoods that flooded in just the last couple of weeks from a pretty minor amount of rain. What's being done for those homeowners in those areas, especially like right off Little and Port Richey?
So again, the question was what's being done about flooding now in neighborhoods, especially after the rains that we had this last couple of weeks. Right now, we always say disasters are local. And what I hope what you guys have picked up on me over the last year is it's local does not mean local government. Local means local to the homeowner level. So I happen to be out on Ironbark Drive, and even the county administrator was out on some of the roads in those particular neighborhoods. One of the problems we saw in the flooding event from a couple of weeks ago was all the fall leaves and winter leaves had fallen to the ground, and all of those leaves washed into the roads, which washed into the drains, which backed up the system. One of the things we need our local homeowners to do, the county has got a lot of work to do in the infrastructure, but what we need to ask what we would ask our residents and neighbors to do is please rake your yards, make sure that the loose leaves and the debris and all that doesn't get into the system, because when that happens, it hurts everybody. A particular road that I was out on, I believe it was Sandalwood Road, community neighbors were out there trying to unblock the drains from the trash from their yards that had gone into the drains. We ended up getting road and bridge crews out there to assist, but at the end of the day, what clogged the drains was the stuff that was in the yards that went into the street that went into the drains.
Flood insurance too.
So Doug wanted me to mention, flood insurance. If you live in an area that floods, folks, flood insurance, you need to buy it. You really do. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have the flood insurance, you're probably not, you're going to be left out to dry. I hate to use that pun, but the average homeowner in a federally declared disaster for flooding without flood insurance protection gets about $3,000 in the state of Florida. The absolute maximum that they will ever get is $36,000. And people think that FEMA is an insurance company. They are not an insurance company. And at the end of the day, those are technically loans. So they need to get flood insurance.
How much is the past fire is going to help your efforts this year if we have a bad storm?
So I think if I understand the question correctly, how much are the fires this past season going to help us if we have a storm? Hurt you. Okay. Will the past fires this last few weeks either hurt us or help us? So again, a rather complicated question. We need rain, to help prevent the fires. We don't need so much rain with associated thunderstorms and lightning that it causes more fires. We are still in technically a drought. We're in a deficit of rain. So the lack of rain it definitely hurts us in the fact that we could we're much more prone to the wildfires and the damaging effects that they could have. By getting too much rain at one time, like we saw 2 weekends ago, I believe it was, our systems are, not just our systems, no system in the United States can handle 4 or 5 inches of rain in 1 hour. They are not designed to do that. And of course, Mr. Biles is a civil engineer by trade, and he can probably talk to that a whole lot better than I can. But those systems are not designed to take that much water that quick. So, we are at Mother Nature's, we're at her mercy when it comes to that. We can handle 1-2 inches of rain, but not 4 to 5 at one time, like we saw in that corridor along the 52 corridor 2 weeks ago. Any other questions?
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.